Delve into one book daily, and today we're diving into The Catcher in the Rye. Have you ever felt this way? Standing in a crowd, yet utterly isolated, watching people around you chase the so-called success, but finding it utterly false and tedious from the bottom of your heart? You crave understanding, yet only sarcasm and alienation come to your lips, wrapping a frightened heart in a rebellious shell, fearing both being assimilated by the world and being completely abandoned by it. This adolescent confusion and sharpness, the weariness and compromise of adulthood, seem to be a struggle everyone must go through in life. Salinger's classic is like a mirror, reflecting the part of us deep down that never wants to grow up, but is forced to move forward. It's not a growth guide for teenagers, but an eternal fable about human nature, loneliness, and redemption. Since its publication in 1951, it has influenced generations of people searching for themselves in confusion. The protagonist of our story is Holden Caulfield, a 16-year-old boy attending Pensy Prep. Born into a middle-class family in New York with a comfortable life, his parents have high expectations for him. Yet he has been expelled from 3 schools in a row, and Pensy is no exception this time. He failed 4 out of 5 subjects, barely passing English. To most people, Holden is a rebellious, decadent, foul-mouthed troublemaker. But beneath this tough exterior lies a sensitive, kind soul who abhors hypocrisy with every fiber of his being. The story begins the day before Holden is expelled from Pensy. That afternoon, he wanders around the campus, finding everything around him irritating. He goes to see his history teacher, Mr. Spencer, who preaches to him earnestly about studying hard. But as Holden sits there, his inner thought is, he talked a bunch of nonsense about life being a game and how you have to play by the rules. But I don't even want to play this damn game. This is Holden's first cry from the heart. He refuses to accept the established rules of the adult world, rules that everyone regards as absolute truth, which seem to him nothing but self-deception. He resents Mr. Spencer deliberately showing off his knowledge in front of him, hates that condescending tone of preaching, and detests the way the old man pretends to see through everything when he doesn't understand him at all. Leaving Mr. Spencer's house, Holden returns to his dorm. His roommate, Stradlater, is handsome and popular with girls, yet extremely selfish and hypocritical. Stradlater asks Holden to write a composition for him, then wears Holden's new coat to go on a date with a girl, treating Holden's things carelessly. Holden is filled with dissatisfaction, mixed with a sense of powerlessness. In the composition, he writes about his deceased younger brother, Ali, a bright, kind boy who died of leukemia at only 11, and the softest light in Holden's life. Ali was smart and kind, would chat with him late at night, and covered his baseball glove with poems. Holden writes, Ali's glove was covered in poems. When he batted, he'd look at those poems so he wouldn't get bored. This detailed sketch hides Holden's obsession with purity and beauty. Ali's glove is a symbol of innocence untouched by the world, and those poems are a sanctuary for his spiritual world. When Stradlater returns from his date, Holden asks who he went out with. Learning it was Jane Gallagher, someone he knows, Holden flies into a frenzy. Jane is another pure presence in Holden's heart. They used to play together in the summer. Jane would press her knees against his and share her thoughts with him. Holden bombards Stradlater with questions about what he did with Jane, but Stradlater evades the answers and impatiently attacks Holden. The two fight, and Holden is badly beaten, black and blue. Huddled on the floor, he is overwhelmed with anger and despair. His inner monologue goes, I hate him, hate his handsome face, hate his hypocrisy, and most of all, hate my own inability to protect the people I care about. They're all changing, becoming as disgusting as the rest of the world. Only Ali and Jane, I won't let them be corrupted. At this moment, Holden's rebellion is no longer senseless defiance, but a defense of purity, a condemnation of the hypocrisy and violence of the adult world. After being beaten, Holden can no longer stay in the dorm. He decides to leave Pensy early, spend a few days in New York City, and go home to face his parents until Christmas. Dragging his tired body to the station, he boards a train to New York. On the train, he meets the mother of his classmate, Ernest Morrow. The lady chats with him warmly, asking about his life at school. Holden doesn't tell the truth. Instead, he makes up a bunch of lies, saying he's doing well in school and praising Ernest as an excellent student. His inner monologue: I know I'm lying, but I don't want to disappoint her, and I don't want to talk about those disgusting truths. That's how the adult world is. Everyone lies to each other, putting on a friendly face when they don't care about each other at all. The contrast here is stark. Holden abhors hypocrisy, yet is forced to learn to use hypocrisy to navigate the adult world. This contradiction is the root of his pain. Upon arriving in New York, Holden checks into a small hotel. Late at night, he watches the various people in the hotel. A man dressed in women's clothes, a couple splashing water at each other, pretentious middle-aged people, all filling him with disgust. A sharp sense of loneliness surges within him, as if the whole world is against him. He calls several people, hoping to talk to someone, but is repeatedly rejected. He calls his ex-girlfriend Sally, his old classmate Carl Luce, his sister Phoebe, but either gets perfunctory responses or no answer at all. Wandering alone on the streets of New York, the cold wind cuts to the bone, just like his mood. He walks into a bar and orders a drink, but the bartender refuses him for looking too young. Watching the carnival crowd in the bar, he thinks, they're all pretending to be happy, covering their inner emptiness with alcohol and noise. I'm not like them, but I don't even know what I really want. This loneliness is not the boredom of being alone, but the desolation of an ununderstood soul. The confusion of knowing you're out of step with the world, yet having nowhere to belong. The next day, Holden asks Sally out. Sally is a beautiful but vain girl, obsessed with social events and material pleasures. They go to a play and walk in the park together. Suddenly, Holden tells Sally he wants to run away with her to the countryside, live in seclusion, and never return to this disgusting city. Sally thinks he's being ridiculous, mocks his impracticality, and urges him to go back to school, study hard, and find a good job in the future. Holden snaps, shouting at Sally, "You don't understand me at all. You only care about those fake things, about what others think of you. You're no different from all those hypocrites." Sally bursts into tears and leaves. Watching her back, Holden is filled with both anger and regret. His inner monologue: I know I overreacted, but I can't stand her hypocrisy. I just want someone who understands me, someone who hates this world as much as I do. Why is that so hard? Sally represents the normalcy recognized by the world. Her choices are what most people make, while Holden's pursuits seem rebellious and crazy in the eyes of society. This conflict of values pushes Holden's loneliness and struggle to the edge. Later, Holden goes to see Carl Luce. Carl is an older classmate who always puts on a mature, insightful air, talking eloquently about sex, philosophy, and other topics. Holden hopes to get some comfort and guidance from Carl, but Carl only mocks him, urging him to accept reality and stop living in his own world. Carl says, "You're too naive, Holden. The world is just like this. You either adapt or get eliminated." Holden retorts, "I don't want to adapt, and I don't want to be eliminated. I just want to protect those beautiful things." But Carl doesn't understand him at all, makes a few perfunctory remarks, and leaves. At this moment, Holden realizes thoroughly that no one can truly understand him. Everyone is compromising with the adult world, and he alone is stubbornly clinging to his bottom line. In despair, Holden returns home. Unwilling to let his parents find out he's been expelled, he sneaks to see his sister Phoebe. Phoebe is only 10 years old, the most important person in Holden's life, and the child in the rye field he wants to protect. Smart and sensible, Phoebe immediately notices something is wrong with Holden. She presses him about being expelled again, and Holden doesn't lie, telling her the truth. Instead of blaming him, Phoebe hugs him and says, "I know you're sad, Holden." The moment he feels his sister's understanding, all Holden's resolve crumbles. He bursts into tears in her arms. His inner monologue. Only Phoebe understands me. Only she doesn't think I'm weird, doesn't force me to become someone I hate. I won't let her get hurt, won't let her become one of those hypocritical adults. Holden tells Phoebe he wants to be the catcher in the rye. He says, "I picture this huge rye field with hundreds of kids playing in it, running and laughing. I'd stand at the edge of the field, by the cliff. Whenever a kid starts to run towards the cliff, I'd rush over and pull them back. I don't want them to fall off. Don't want them to grow up and become those disgusting people." This is the core metaphor of the entire novel. The rye field symbolizes the purity and freedom of childhood. The cliff represents the hypocrisy and depravity of the adult world. And Holden's watching over is a defense of innocence, a longing for the true nature of humanity. It's not that he doesn't want to grow up, but that he's afraid of growing up, afraid of losing his true self, afraid of being smoothed out by the world. To avoid making his parents angry and to find a temporary refuge, Holden decides to go to the West to make a living. He wants to find a simple job there, away from the noise and hypocrisy of New York, and live quietly. When he tells Phoebe his decision, she says firmly, "If you're going to the West, I'm going with you. I won't let you go alone." Phoebe's words make Holden reflect. He realizes he can't abandon the people around him for the sake of escaping reality. Can't let Phoebe give up her childhood and future for him. His inner monologue. I can't be this selfish. Phoebe has a long life ahead of her. She deserves a happy childhood, not to run away with me. Maybe I don't need to go to the West. I just need to learn to accept the imperfection of the world, to protect the people around me. On Christmas Day, Holden takes Phoebe to the park. Phoebe rides the carousel, a bright smile on her face, the sunlight shining on her like an angel. Holden sits on a bench, watching Phoebe's happiness fill him with peace and warmth. As he watches her spin round and round, he suddenly understands. He can't protect Phoebe forever, can't stop the children from growing up. All he can do is accompany and cherish them as they grow, letting them keep a piece of their true selves when facing the hypocrisy of the adult world. His inner monologue. Maybe growing up isn't such a terrible thing. What's terrible is losing yourself in the process. I don't need to be the catcher in the rye. I just need to be myself, to protect the people around me. That's enough. At this moment, Holden's mentality undergoes a profound transformation. From rebellion and escape, he gradually becomes calm and mature. He no longer fights against the whole world, but learns to reconcile with it, and with himself. Shortly after, Holden falls ill and is sent to a sanatorium by his parents. During his stay there, he calmly reflects on the past. He no longer harbors resentment towards those hypocritical people, nor feels confused about the future. He begins to understand that everyone has their own struggles and helplessness. Although the adult world has hypocrisy and darkness, it also has warmth and beauty. He misses Phoebe, misses Allie, misses everyone who has appeared in his life. Whether good or bad, they are all part of who he is. His inner monologue. I used to think I was the loneliest person in the world, that no one could understand me. But now I realize loneliness is a mandatory course for everyone. And growing up is learning to find strength in loneliness, to find beauty in imperfection. The deepest theme of The Catcher in the Rye is never adolescent rebellion, but the persistence of human nature and the cost of growing up. Holden's struggle is essentially the spiritual predicament everyone faces when transitioning from childhood to adulthood. We yearn to remain pure, yet have to confront the rules and hypocrisy of the adult world. We crave understanding, yet often fall into loneliness and alienation. We fear losing ourselves, yet are forced to compromise in reality. With Holden's story, Salinger tears off the hypocritical veil of American society after World War II. Material prosperity brought spiritual emptiness. People chased fame and fortune, gradually losing the true nature and warmth of humanity. Holden's rebellion is a silent resistance to this social reality, a way for him to protect the purity and beauty in his heart. Even today, Holden's story still holds strong practical significance. We live in a fast-paced, high-pressure era where everyone is rushing for survival and success, forced to abide by various rules and play different roles. We learn to be hypocritical and tactful, to hide our true thoughts, and gradually become the person we once hated. Like Holden, we feel anxious, empty, and lonely, longing to escape this exhausting world. But Holden's experience tells us, escape is never the solution. Fighting against the whole world will only bring more pain. True growth is learning to reconcile with the world and with ourselves. Holden's desire to be the catcher in the rye is essentially a longing for certainty, a fear of losing control. He is afraid of the children growing up, afraid of them being corrupted by the adult world. Deep down, he is afraid of being unable to control the future, afraid of losing the ability to protect beauty. But life is an inherently uncertain journey. We can't stop the passage of time, can't stop the people around us from growing up, and can't stop the world from changing. What we can do is not cling desperately to the past, but keep our true selves amid changes, retaining a trace of purity and kindness in this complex world. This book teaches us that loneliness is not terrible. What's terrible is losing yourself in loneliness. Holden's loneliness stems from his persistence in purity, from his alienation from the world. Yet, it is this loneliness that allows him to see the world clearly, to uphold his values. In this noisy era, each of us needs to set aside some time for solitude, to listen to the voice of our hearts, so we don't lose our way in the pursuit of fame and fortune. At the same time, Holden's story tells us that understanding and companionship are the best remedies for loneliness. Phoebe's understanding is the key to Holden's ability to step out of confusion and learn to reconcile. In life, each of us needs to be understood and accepted, and also needs to understand and accept others. Sometimes, a warm greeting or a steadfast companionship can give strength to those lost in confusion. Furthermore, The Catcher in the Rye makes us rethink the meaning of growth. Growing up is not about becoming more tactful or hypocritical, but about retaining kindness and purity in our hearts after experiencing the complexity and darkness of the world, about upholding our bottom lines and principles while learning to abide by the rules, about maintaining love and hope for life in the face of setbacks and helplessness. Holden finally learns to reconcile with the world, not because he abandons his persistence, but because he realizes that upholding his true self doesn't require fighting against the whole world. Being true to oneself and protecting the people around us is the best interpretation of purity. For modern people, the greatest inspiration of this book is to make us pause in the fast pace of life and reflect on our lives. Have we lost our passions in the pursuit of success? Have we become more hypocritical in dealing with complex interpersonal relationships? Have we chosen escape and compromise when facing pressure and anxiety? Holden's story reminds us, no matter how difficult life is, no matter how complex the world is, never forget who we were at the beginning. Never lose the purity and kindness in our hearts. Learn to reconcile with yourself. Accept your own imperfection and the world's imperfection. Find strength in loneliness and uphold your true self in growth. This is the right attitude to face life. Holden's story is like a microcosm of everyone's youth, filled with rebellion and confusion, loneliness and struggle, as well as warmth and growth. It teaches us that growth is never a smooth journey. Those pains and confusions are indispensable parts of our lives. They teach us to be strong, to persist, and to get along with the world gently. Perhaps we were all once children in the rye field, longing to be protected. Perhaps we all once wanted to be the catcher, longing to keep purity. But in the end, we all understand that the best kind of growth is to hold fast to our true selves amid the tides of time, moving forward bravely with tenderness and resolve. No summary can replace the original work. A good book is worth reading page by page. I'm Paper Campfire. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to our next encounter.